Affirmations don't work, or at least not the way most people use them. So if you've been using affirmations, reciting them for a while, maybe for years, and you realized they weren't working, or maybe you had a fear they weren't working that you didn't really want to acknowledge, or maybe they've worked for you sometimes, but other times you're wondering what the hell happened, then this episode is for you, because I'm going to explain why they don't work and give you something that absolutely does work every single time. For all things money and mindset, to help you build an aligned and abundant business you love so you never worry about money again, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell. When I first watched The Secret, discovered the power of the mind, and started doing all the things, I recited affirmations. I recited affirmations from dusk till dawn, and they didn't work, unfortunately. All those wonderful things I was saying didn't happen. And I found it was really hard work and quite demoralizing. And it wasn't until years later when I actually studied hypnosis and learned more about how the mind actually works that I started to understand why those affirmations didn't work. And I came up with something much, much better that does work, which I'm going to share with you in this episode. So let's talk about the very first and fundamental reason why affirmations don't work. And it's because you're basically trying to convince yourself of something that you don't actually believe. And the thing is, you cannot bullshit the universe. You just can't. See, when you really don't believe it, then you're not going to be in alignment with it. And your vibration that you're putting out there is going to be screaming of that. So you're trying to convince yourself of something you don't believe. And maybe you'll get there, but you cannot possibly convince the universe that you believe it because you don't, and your vibration says it loud and clear. See, when you're trying to convince yourself of something that you don't really believe, you're building up all this resistance, and that resistance actually is a much louder signal than the little "I'm so abundant, money flows to me easily" message that you're trying to get out. And applying willpower really doesn't work. That is one of the most fundamental things I learned when I studied hypnosis, is that willpower doesn't work. That's why trying to force yourself to give up smoking doesn't work, but you can be hypnotized into giving up smoking just like that. So let's do a little quick demo on why willpower doesn't work. And I'm simply going to tell you to not think about a pink elephant. So what I want you to do right now is I allow you to think about anything else. You can think about whatever you like, but you cannot think about a pink elephant. So the one thing that you are not going to think about right now is a pink elephant. I don't want you to imagine it. I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to imagine where it might live or what it might eat or how it might roll in the mud or any of those kinds of things. I don't want you to think about what shade of pink it would be, and I don't want you to see it in your mind right now. So what's everyone thinking about? That's right, a pink elephant, because the mind does not hear the word no. So when I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, you're thinking about the pink elephant. That is why willpower does not work. And in this video, I am going to share with you what absolutely does work. That is a much better alternative to those old, boring affirmations. So first, let's talk a little bit more about why it is that affirmations don't work, because as you understand why they don't work, you will understand why the hack I'm going to share with you to use instead really does work. So the first reason that affirmations just don't work is usually it's way too much of a stretch. You know, most people use affirmations when they realize they're up the creek without a paddle and they're desperately trying to change their situation. And so the thing they're actually reciting and saying in their affirmation is the complete opposite of where they're finding themselves. And that's just basically too big a stretch. The mind cannot possibly go there. So straight away, you're blowing yourself out of the water. Now, the second reason that affirmations don't work for most people is actually because they're not practicing them often enough. So the truth is, affirmations will eventually work and reprogram your mind, but it's going to take a long time and a lot of reciting those affirmations. So most people don't do it anywhere near often enough, which means they're not really brainwashing themselves in the way that affirmations are designed to. effectively. And so all this other stuff happens that's not at all in alignment with the affirmations. And so again, too much of a stretch and they're not really believing it. So they're not saturating themselves often enough. And this is the problem with affirmations. They do work, but it's a lot of work to make them work. So the main reason that affirmations simply don't work is that you're saying all this stuff, but you don't actually expect it to happen. So what that means is because you don't really expect it, your vibration never really lines up with it. And if you're not a vibrational match to it, you cannot possibly attract it. Now, mindset and limiting beliefs play a huge factor in all of that. And I actually talked about that a whole lot more in this episode, so you can find that up in the cards above. So in a minute, I'm going to share with you my awesome hack that absolutely works every time. That is a fantastic alternative to affirmations because it works with the way your mind naturally operates rather than trying to battle against it. But before I give you that, I really want to know, it's just you and me here, so you can tell me in the comments, whenever you've recited affirmations in the past, did you hear the voice of doubt in the back of your head and try to ignore it? Because I know that I heard that voice of doubt every single time and did my best to ignore it. And a lot of time passed before I realized that there was a much better way. So let me know in the comments, have you also noticed that voice of doubt whenever you've been reciting affirmations? Okay, so here's the awesome alternative to affirmations that actually works. And this is something I teach my magnetic money students and that we actually practice and build on in the magnetic money program. It's called an evidence mantra. So at first glance, it may sound and seem a little bit like an affirmation, but there's a really huge difference because you only use the evidence mantra when something is actually happening that you want to affirm, that you want to point out to your conscious and unconscious mind. So say that you just had an awesome new client book in for you and it was really easy. That's when you want to use the evidence mantra. And you want to have your own evidence mantra that just feels really natural and easy for you. So everybody will have their own because it's really important that whatever you do is designed and tailored specifically to you, because guess what? There is no formula for you, but that's a whole other video. So the evidence mantra, my evidence mantra is really simple. That's right, everything is always working out for me. Everything's always working out for me because no part of me can actually argue with that. So that's an important aspect of the evidence mantra. But then I only use it not as an affirmation to try and talk myself around when things are starting to look a little bit not the way I'd like them to be, but I actually use it in the moment when something really cool has happened and things are working out for me. So it's actually affirming reality. It's actually reminding me that yes, things are always working out for me. And there's the evidence right in front of me in 3D reality. So my conscious mind cannot argue with that. And my unconscious mind cannot argue with that either. And so what it also does is it actually starts reprogramming your reticular activating system. Think of it like a little switch between your conscious and unconscious mind that brings things into your awareness. And it reprograms this reticular activating system to be on the lookout for even more things like that, even more things that are always working out for you. And so what that means is that you then in the process, not just are you affirming to yourself that that's right, everything's always working out for me, or you might come up with an evidence mantra of, see, that's how easy it is to bring in lots of awesome clients, or that's how easy it is to make lots of money, or more clients, more money, always keep coming, right? That's true because sometimes we worry, but then it still happens. It all works out. The clients and the money do come, right? So when you use that, not only are you affirming in the moment that, see, it's all cool, what were you so worried about? But you're also programming your unconscious mind to be on the lookout for more. And not only that, but for it to bring it to your conscious awareness. And so what that means is you actually allow this amazing process to build and build and build. And you're literally reprogramming your mind and reconditioning your mind to start seeing all the abundance, to start seeing all the opportunities that were always there and available, but they're kind of being highlighted and brought to the surface for you now, so you can fully appreciate and enjoy them and attract even more. Now, if you'd like some more tips on how to attract more abundance into your beautiful business, then check out these videos over here. The links will be in the show notes and in the cards at the end. Now, when it comes to manifesting money in particular, there's a few things that people tend to screw up a lot of the time that inadvertently actually repel money rather than attract it to you. And that's why I've created the Manifesting Abundance Quick Fix. It is a super cool, super simple freebie that you can access right now. Link is below for you. And it'll run you through those 5 things that most people get wrong that tend to then repel rather than attract money. But you're not going to get it wrong anymore, are you? Because you're going to know all about it. So what you get with the Manifesting Abundance Quick Fix is you get a PDF cheat sheet that quickly runs you through those 5 things. And it also comes with a super quick and very to the point, punchy 5-minute training to make sure you fully understand what each of those 5 things is actually about. Before I go, did you like this video? I hope you did, because I made it just for you. And if you did enjoy it, I would love you to hit the like button, click the subscribe button, and share it with any friends who would enjoy it too. Remember, it's time for you to embrace your unlimited potential. And I know, and you know that I know, that you know, that I know, that you are absolutely ready to take the next step. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.